Howdy everyone. If you're active in progressive left-wing communities in any way, but you're also white and also male presenting, then you've probably been told something to the tune of stay in your lane, or just listen to trans people on trans issues, or maybe even believe all victims, or something along these lines. And if you're clicking on a video like this one, then you're probably not quite convinced on the merits of that alone, which is fair enough. It's often said more as a mantric expression rather than an argument on its own merits. And that means, for the most part, that it isn't meant to be read as an argument, just as a warning of you're being a bit overbearing to X minority group, and if you do that too much, their own messages may be being perverted and distorted by your lack of experience within the community. And in an ideal world, I could end this video here, because that would be an easier job for me and less watching for you. But the discourse about this phrase in particular has been poisoned just a little bit. Some people just straight up don't understand why the left do this. And it's a pretty simple concept. The person the question is about should answer the question. For example, I wouldn't ask a group of 50-year-old football fans on what the rehabilitative training schedules for injured players should be. I'm going to ask sports scientists who develop the schedules around the players. The fans, while they definitely have a vested interest in the topic and want players to recover as reliably and quickly as possible, aren't going to give especially comprehensive answers about the problems that affect the players in particular. That doesn't mean, though, that you as a football fan should never give your opinions if there are no sports scientists around, especially if you're on the side of the sports scientists and in a room of people who hate sports scientists. Because misguided positive attitudes are generally better than outright targeted contempt. I feel like I'm leaning into this whole sports scientist metaphor a little bit too much. But anyway, a lot of people also seem to think that stay in your lane means that you, as a white person, or a straight person, or a cis person, should never talk about POC, gay, or trans issues ever. That you should only point towards the thoughts of people within those communities. And this is horribly misguided, to say the least. Members of minority groups often need cis straight white men to raise awareness for things that affect them, because people aren't listening to them when they say it for various reasons, whereas people will listen to white people who talk about the same topics. The reasoning and explanation behind the saying is instead, if you're a cis straight white male, you shouldn't be the ones making these opinions. Instead, ideally, you should be signal boosting people within these communities who know better, or signal boosting the ideas these people have. Because again, you're an outsider looking in, and you almost certainly don't have very much experience on the nuances of these issues. That being said, there are some problems that arise that aren't caused by other leftists, surprisingly. Conservatives like to use people in minority groups as tokens, like Blaire White, like Candace Owens, like Milo Yiannopoulos, who like to pretend they represent the ideas of the oppressed communities they're a part of. I can't be homophobic. This gay person agrees with me. I can't be racist. This black person agrees with me. And they're usually used to deceive, to pretend like they're not actually oppressed because they have equal rights already or something, so you can continue to be actually racist free of moral judgment. But at the same time, people will try and dismiss the idea of staying in one's own lane, and say things along the lines of, but what about people like Blaire or Candace or Milo? As if people within their respective minority groups can't tell which ideas are bad and need some cis straight white male savior or something. But at the same time, if you do know enough to debunk obviously dogshit conservative arguments, then you probably know enough on these issues to know that the majority of people in these communities disagree with these figureheads. And you can, instead, without violating the principle of don't make the opinions, just echo the points that members of these communities are saying, as well as citing your sources to give outreach and exposure to people who are actually experienced within these topics, and aren't just grifting to make that conservative dollar. Anyway, short video this week, just trying to get back into making content again after taking a couple weeks off. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment to let me know you like the video, and subscribe for more. If you're new as well, you can also follow me on Twitter for cool posts such as this one. Alternatively, if you have the money, you can donate to my Patreon. Either way, stay safe, stay spicy, and as always, have a good